We were born ready to run.
There's no tech, it's me.
Right. Don't lower me.
I'm going
Brian.
Alright, so Derek, you want to kick us off?
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get away from our title card here. It does a better job of explaining who we are than I ever could. My name's Derek Rose. I've been collecting for too long, and I've kind of made, I think we've both made names for ourselves as collectors in the community. So, who are you?
Sure. My name's Brian Shadowx Jaworski. I work with Fangamer now, and I'm still currently the ongoing merchandise staffer at StarMet.net, though I don't update as often as I used to. I started collecting, I don't even know how many years ago, back when Reed did this site, which you are now with Bound, founder of Bound.net, and I've been there ever since.
So we wanted to do this panel because last year we did a huge, really detailed, almost infographic on how to collect all the various websites and different ways you can collect all the different merchandise. We had everything tiered out. And I thought that it would be a little bit interesting this year to straight up get all the content from you guys, do almost a straight up Q&A, because collecting has been part of the community for so long. Everyone knows all the different other merchandise that's available, even if you only know some. Everyone wants a Mr. Saturn plush, everyone wants a copy of the game. Where do I import from? Do I buy on eBay? What are scalpers?
Yeah.
So it,
what's fan made, what's not?
Exactly. So it's something that we've been doing it for so long. We just constantly, even if it isn't dedicated research, we're constantly searching things and discovering new things.
And the crazy thing is, new merchandise is still being made, whether it's being made by fans, Fangamer, or actually Toys store, Hobonichi, which I don't know if you guys know, they just recently, about a couple months ago, came out with this whole Mr. Saturn like little bag, pouch, and like notebook line that was very under the radar. If you didn't follow his website, you totally missed out, which I still think they have some left. But it's just diligent. You just got to keep looking. Like, never assume there's no new merchandise that's done.
Exactly, and it's not even necessarily new merchandise being made, it's old merchandise being discovered. It wasn't until probably, 2013 that we knew the rulers were a thing?
Yeah, the ruler was, correct me if I'm wrong, that was a thing given out as a promotion.
It was in a, almost like a press kit,
Yeah.
which me and Sif down here have been trying to find the whole contents of the press kit, but it had the pizza keychain, some newspapers that Lucas Dismo picked up years ago.
And no one has the box.
No one has
the box. The box is like gone to the wind.
But I have asked several people and they can't confirm that the promo package came in a big pizza box. So hopefully one day we'll find that. So up here on the board, we have some common resources for anybody interested in collecting. There, of course, is the StarMet.net merchandise section, staffed by Brian here.
Which I admit, it does need to be updated. There's a lot of merchandise that's come out since my last update, which I really need to do that after this count.
Right, I think the last update was
2014, maybe?
Yeah,
like
something like that.
2014. And a lot of stuff has come out since then.
Right. Earthbound Central is a fantastic site hosted by Clyde Mandolin, aka Tomato. And the best part about this site is not only does it have a database of merchandise for the games, it has up-to-date blog posts whenever new merchandise is made, and it also has a live eBay tracker on the side that keeps track of, I would say, probably 90% of all of the eBay auctions.
Yeah, Clyde made a great tracker. If you guys don't follow that, definitely keep an eye on that, because he even pulls from, he pulls and filters mother phrases, so you're not going to get like mother baby milk or earthbound
Mother
farm.
Goose nursery rhyme. Some earthbound farms will slip through.
Yeah.
It depends on if they typo it.
Mm-hmm. Like farms or something weird, but yeah.
And of course we've got eBay and Yahoo Auctions Japan are good options. If you're going for Yahoo Japan, you're going to need to go through a third-party importing thing, which if you need to know more about that, feel free to ask. We're familiar with importing. And another very important thing to do, and it's something I do on rare occasion, is intentionally typo. I've found copies of Earthbound under Earthbond, Someone got an Earthbound ruler because it had a typo in it for like $40.
Wow.
A couple years ago. And so it's something that you have to look for. In fact, if you want a good copy of like Ninja Gaiden 3 for the NES for a lower price than they normally go for, search Ninja Garden. There's a ton of carts under Ninja Garden on eBay at any given time. It's incredible. And Major's Mask, if you're looking for a copy of Majora's Mask. So, you really have to get creative if you want to find everything available at any given time. So that's pretty much it. Our final slide, if we shoot to it, basically just says any questions, and that's where we'd like to leave it.
And the goal for this panel was pretty much for you to ask questions on where you can find something specific, or something exists, or if you just had questions about merchandise in general.
Right.
Because last year's panel was pretty much, we just talked about merchandise, which we could do all day, all night. But this year we wanted to see if you guys had anything you wanted to talk about.
And want to know any horror stories, anything really. You may have heard of something, maybe want to know more information about it. We have our merchandise museum that's open right now, which is, what percentage would you say we're at with merchandise in there? It's pretty complete.
It's pretty complete. It's not as stocked as it was last year due to space.
Right.
But for what we've been collecting throughout the years, it's close to 90%.
90%.
And most of it at 10% is like the super rare stuff, like the
the
Mother 2 jacket, DCMC T-shirt, which stuff like that is near impossible to find.
And we know one guy. We know one guy with all three of those.
Yes, he somehow got them all. And he unfortunately didn't want to lend it to us this week, which we totally understand because
who would really want to ship that off?
Even when we ship things for this, it's pretty risky because something can happen in the mail, something can get damaged, and that's always a risk you take. And if it's one of a kind item that you'll never get again, you have to weigh your options of. I really want to trust UPS with something so rare.
We really don't, but we have to.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if you're new to collecting or if you've been collecting for years, we're happy to answer any and all questions. So sure.
How hard is it to find the Game Boy Micro?
Actually, really not that hard. Especially on Yahoo Auctions Japan. If we want to go back one slide so we can have our resources up. Yahoo Auctions Japan. There's usually at any given time, I've seen 3 or 4 loose Game Boy Micros from Mother 3, as well as several complete Mother 3 deluxe boxes. And there is a risk with importing from Japan. I don't know, do you know if that law is still in effect?
No, you can still import from Japan using an outside source, such as Selga Rinkia.
Selga is the one I've always used.
Selga or Selga.com. If you don't know, they're a service where you'll literally tell them what you want them to bid on. You'll give them a link, you'll give them an amount of yen maximum bid.
Yeah, it's usually half of your maximum bid.
Yeah, and you then deposit half your max bid. So let's say it's 20,000 yen. You give them 10,000 yen converted to $100 in like a little bank account that they hold. And if you win the auction, great. Then they charge you for the item, the shipping, their fees. If you lose the auction, that money stays in your bank account and just sits there until you need it again, or you can get it back. They actually are very trustworthy. They've been around for as long as I can remember.
Oh yeah,
they've only grown from a very simple user interface to now an entire spreadsheet form and everything. They're very good.
Oh yeah. So on eBay, you might find loose Game Boy Micros, but eBay is definitely going to be the haven for overpriced, complete deluxe boxes.
Ironically, even though it'll take much longer, you can get it. For example, the Game Boy Micro, you can get it cheaper from Yahoo Auctions because it's coming directly from Japan, overseas shipping. And then you can get it from someone who just would sell it directly in America.
I've seen them for 20,000 yen, even less, 18,000.
And sometimes with the deluxe box and the game,
right,
and the Franklin badge. So sometimes you can get a better deal if you are willing to wait longer and go the distance and do some research. Because for Japan, they just have those. That's their Ninja Garden. They have a bunch of those just sitting around and just trying to get rid of them. Whereas America, eBay, it's rare, so they know they can mark it up.
And the benefit about searching through Yahoo Japan is that if you want to collect Mother merchandise, it's great. It has an English name. You type in Mother 3, and you're going to get the games.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing where you'd have to go to the Wikipedia page and get the Japanese text and throw it in.
Yeah, we actually got lucky with that title because it literally was Mother. You don't have to, like you said, copy paste the Japanese title or the English version of that title.
Right.
Sometimes even just searching Mother SFC or Mother Nintendo will get you a bunch of hits that you never would have gotten before.
Right.
And thankfully, just because it's, Mother and Nintendo are two just very distinctly English words in Japan that you can just always search.
And over here we have NES, SNES, so if you were wanting to search in Japan, you'd use FC for Famicom, SFC for Super Famicom.
And GBA, Universal.
GBA, yeah.
Yeah, after Game Boy, they pretty much went universal with their games. Any other questions?
Yes.
After the release of Earthbound on the Virtual Console, I know that it affected the price of the cart somewhat, but did it also affect the price of other merchandise? And why do you think that is, if so?
It did a little bit. Clyde actually did data analysis because he has the eBay thing on his website on Earthbound Central, and he tracked how much the price went up and down, and it did dip a little bit, but then it went back up even higher because people who discovered it through Virtual Console then wanted to own a physical copy. So then they got introduced to the series, they started looking for merchandise, so there was a little bit of a spike in prices after an initial dip. Now the dip wasn't that much, it was like maybe 20, 30 bucks. For a cart that originally, the game cost 60 with 65, 70?
Maybe 65.
Yeah, 65, 70 after tax, or with tax. And now we can get it for like 90, which is low, to 120 to 150 just for the cart. So that kind of fluctuated, but now it's back pretty much up to its usual level because it's now still a collector's item.
Well, the interesting thing about
Which, by the way, before I forget, I don't know if you guys have seen, down the hallway going to the Merch Museum, there is a crane game. There is an Earthbound cart in that crane game. So I wish you guys luck to try and get that thing.
The interesting thing about Earthbound's value is you can watch it dip at certain points. You can see when the game came out for Virtual Console, you saw it dip, but also it's fascinating to watch because there's just times where Earthbound carts dip for seemingly no reason. They'll dip, they'll rise back up, they'll go down to 90 bucks, they'll go back up to 160 for a cart, and it's weird. When I started collecting and started seriously collecting in 2008, I thought 70 bucks was expensive for the cartridge, and now there was a time 2 years ago where a loose cartridge was $250. So
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see those times again because
thank goodness.
it was a rush. It was people discovered it. There was a huge rush when Smash came out and Ness was a character. It still is. And when he came out, there was that influx of a lot of people just know Ness from Smash.
Right.
And obviously he's not just from Smash. He's really from Earthbound or Mother 2. But the days of the 250 carts, I think, are past us, thankfully. But I think as time goes on, carts become more and more rare. We might see that again.
Well, you see it with things like Mega Man X3, Hagame, different things like that. And something I'm surprised we haven't seen with Earthbound is a lot of games in Japanese, whenever the English copy gets up high, people can realize I can import this game. And then it almost seems like the imports reach the same level. It's usually with games that aren't text heavy like Hagame or Little Samson on the Famicom. But at this point, I'm still kind of surprised that the Japanese copies have stayed very affordable by comparison.
Yeah, they don't really seem to have, I guess, price gouging like we do. Whereas a used game will pretty much only be the cost of new and still popular. There, they pretty much stay at either retail or below retail.
It also helps that Mother 2 was popular.
Yeah, and there's plenty of them. You can still actually find a mint unopened Mother 2 box in Yahoo Auction Japan for pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Under 100.
Under 100, basically. Yeah.
After
On a good
shipping,
day.
on a good day, yeah.
There you go. Any questions? Yes.
How have things been going in terms of, I know for like a long time, especially with the Earthbound SNES card, bootlegging or either a fake or like reproduction card sold as authentic was a pretty big problem. Has that kind of like taken a dive lately as eBay?
You know what?
That is running rampant.
Yeah, but now it's different.
It is different.
Reproduction cards are like the thing now. Certain places will actually make it more like a boutique item, where they'll like make the cart really fancy, and they'll blatantly say, yeah, it's reproduction. Here it is. For example, one big company, we actually displayed some of their stuff last year because we really appreciated their artwork. It was Rose Colored Games, or Gaming. They and other companies really celebrate now the re-release of ROMs on carts or custom carts. Back then, back in the 90s, early 2000s, they were made, but it was made under the guise of, this is the real thing, here's a prototype, here's something that I found at a garage sale or I had forever, and then they mark it up, sell for like $250, $300, $1,000, one even went for it, this was fake. Now it's just blatant, here it is, it's a repo.
And the thing that is interesting about it is it kind of stems from places like Nintendo Age and other video game collectors forums, because once a game reaches such a high cost, people are going to be, how cheaply can I reproduce this? Actively market as a reproduction item, sell them for like $65 a cart, and I'm making profit off of the fact that this game is hard to find.
Yeah, and
there's reproduction labels.
Yeah.
There's blatantly stolen ROM hacks from Starman.net, Earthbound.
Oh, I mean, you can get, and I know Clyde's not happy about it, you can get Mother 3 with a recent patch on a Game Boy Advance flash card or a repo card, fully ready to go right now, but you can buy it. And, well, it's definitely awesome. That's the really great area of, it's great to have that, we all want it, but you're buying something that, you're buying somebody's translation, and the money's not going to that person.
If you're going to do something like that, wait for the GBA EverDrive or go for a flash card or something like that. But now there's even Mother 1+2 reproduction cartridges where Clyde has translated only the Mother 1 side.
Yeah,
and people are selling that as the full thing in English.
So the underhandedness is still kind of going on a little bit. It's you got to pick and choose where you get these cards from, and you have to make your own decision if you want to buy that reproduction card.
And it got to the point where repro card became a buzzword. It wasn't something you had to hide, like, oh, this is authentic, sure. No, it straight up, this is a repro card, give me $70 for it. I spent $20 in an hour in my garage making it, so
with a ROM dumper, and then there you go.
Exactly. So it's gotten worse, but it's also gotten.
It's almost become accepted.
Yeah.
It's because so many of them pop. It used to be like one or two, and sometimes the website URLs would switch. Now it's like there's so many. There's like countless amounts of repo cards out there, repo producers.
Any more questions? Yes.
I know there are some consoles out now where you can get a Japanese card and actually apply a patch to it so it can work in English. Is there anything besides the Retron 5 that has that functionality that you know of?
That I don't know. I know there was a console a very long time ago. I don't even remember the name of it, but I know I searched for it for like forever. That used to take flash cards, but not like the flash cards we know, like the giant, like really thick ones. What were those called? Like the ones that were like this big. They weren't floppies, but they were like for the cameras. There used to be a console that used to do that. It might have been.
I think it was CF. Yeah.
There was a console that used to do that, and you could apply English patches on this Japanese console because it would also take carts, so you could sort of like insert a cart and then like almost like re-dump something into the cart, and then it could be whatever you want it to be.
There is one actually right now that's the competitor to the Retron 5. It's the Retro Freak. You can get them on Amazon, and they do exactly what you just explained. It'll play NES Famicom, Super Famicom, use adapters for the American copies. Genesis / Mega Drive, TurboGrafx 16, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. Plays the whole shebang, has a cartridge or a controller adapter, you plug whatever controller you want into it. And it's an emulation-based device. It just rips the ROM from whatever cartridge you put in.
And it stores it in the drive.
But the difference between it and the Retron 5 is the Retron 5 you can't just put ROMs into and play. You can put patches, but the Retro Freak you can put ROMs straight up into it and play it without having to have the cartridge or anything. So I'm almost certain it also can do the patch application thing. It just has a Japanese interface.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
I mean, not to, put that out there, but emulation consoles do exist. And the biggest thing out there right now, and it still is, it's kind of fallen out ever since Wii U came out, but there's still homebrew. So if you look into homebrew, that's always something. I won't get into details because we all know what that gets into, but there's other ways to do it other than trying to get a console. Right. Which though, still try to support the game, get it first, have that original copy.
Make yourself feel good about piracy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right, I stole it, but I also bought it. So.
Right, exactly. All right. Any more questions?
It's a great question, by the way.
Yes.
Is it worth trying to find a resource for scouring like physical locations like Super Potato? Because there's always all these amazing stories of like, I just popped into Super Potato and found this incredibly rare thing, like priced very well. I know that particular store is now very well picked over because of its reputation.
Yeah. And they actively downsized too.
Yes,
Right.
they did. Yeah. Fangamer was just there about a month and a half ago, and they had restocked. The way Super Potato works is they actively go on websites like Yahoo Japan Auctions. They bid on stuff. They import stuff. They go to garage sales, yard sales, swap meets, other stores, all over, and that's how they pretty much import their goods. But they even hit the supply chain limitation of, they can only hold so much because they downsized their space, and they can only get so much so quickly, where there's not very many places like Super Potato, especially not in America, at least not that I know of, that actively go out there and try to just keep bringing in old games.
So you're not
magazines and figurines and everything.
You're not just wondering like about stores like that. It's like you'll see people finding things at thrift stores, used game stores, etc. I don't know if you got to finish your question.
Well, no, is it worth trying to find a resource for scouring stores like that which are outside of the country? Like the inventory of like a vintage or a retro game store in the United States is frequently very different than the type of inventory.
I know that there's things available from sellers there. I know there's a guy on Sunny Shore who travels to Japanese Pokemon centers and stocks his website with things from that. You buy it, he goes and picks it up. As far as I know, there isn't anything like that for overseas stores where you can kind of see their current stock sort of thing. As far as I know, there's absolutely nothing like that.
Yeah, so you have to physically go. That's for like, I guess, the allure. Is because you can physically go to a brick and mortar store and like, I can purchase this there.
Yeah, I know.
But for that, there's the premium up cost because something you can get in Super Potato. If you can find it online, great. You'll definitely pay less. Super Potato pretty much is like the convenience of being able to get it right then and there if they have it.
And I know even in Japan right now, the amount of like really nice mother-related items are definitely kind of going down. They're hitting on the auction websites. They're not really going to be found in stores. I know John Brentz, who hosted our panel last year, he was at a place called Nakano Broadway. It's just this big anime and video game superstore in Japan.
It's like a giant mall.
Yeah,
but just for anime and video games and other stuff like that.
He was at a store, and in the back they had a big box with the giant Mr. Saturn plush in it. He bought it there and had it shipped out. But that's,
I think the shipping costs more than the actual plush.
right. It's something where if you don't live there or you're not vacationing there, it's almost like you're going to find either a better selection or the exact same selection for near the same price on an import site.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, sure you have the importing cost, but it's the same as you going on vacation, basically. We're trying to find a third party to go get it for you. So,
perfect example. There's still those gachapons. Pronounce that.
Gachapon.
Gachapon.
Yeah.
In Japan, where they still have Mother 2 and Mother keychains or little cell phone straps, and you can get them in the stores there, but they're marked up even more than you would if you got just online from an import. So it's that convenience. So it's really not worth going out to the store unless you're there and willing to pay the premium price.
Right. It can be a treasure hunt if you wanted to.
I mean, it is fun going to the store and like, there's a mother item. I can actually pick it up and get it right now.
I know another collector we were talking about earlier, Onion, he has some of the high-end, really super rare items, but he has spent months scouring the internet, Japanese message boards, searching out all these obtuse websites to find other weird little backdoors to collecting rare items. And
He actually goes the extra distance.
he does, but all of his success has been Yahoo Auctions Japan. That's where he's gotten all of his primary things, so it just really goes to show there may be other options out there, but you're 99.9% of what you're going to find available is going to be on these websites. It's very rare that you'll find someone willing to sell something that you've gone out and sought after. So you kind of just have to bite the bullet and search Yahoo Auctions every day.
Yeah. And Yahoo Auctions is constantly changing its inventory, just like eBay. So
And
just
it's
check it. I used to check it like once every other day.
And you'll watch it for a week and see the exact same things, and then one day later, it's completely different.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's some like waiting period for when you sign up for a page on there. I don't really know how it works, but it just seems like it'll be a complete shift in merchandise.
Anything else, guys? Last call for questions. I think that's everything.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about in particular?
No, I think we hit everything. Just enjoy this week. Definitely please check out the Merch Museum /Stoic Club. Feel free to hang out there, relax. You know, that's the spaces of just to chill. And if you have any questions about what you guys see, feel free to ask one of us. We'll be there.
Before you all get out of your seats, I'm going to need everybody to look way more entertained than you are now.
They're entertained.
There we go. Fake excitement, everybody. Love it. Thank you very much.
There you go. Thank you, guys.